Hi, I'm Chef Pete Schellenbach, culinary specialist with Vulcan, joining you again today from the Vulcan Test Kitchen. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about the Vulcan Clamshell. The Vulcan Clamshell is a great accessory for your Vulcan griddle. It allows you to cook your menu items faster and more consistently. Its easy-to-use design makes it the perfect solution for maximizing your griddle production in a small footprint. Today I'm going to show you the speed and ease of use while cooking chicken, cauliflower steaks, and burgers. I'm also going to show you a side-by-side comparison of our regular rapid recovery plate, then with the addition of the clamshell to show you the difference in speed between those two ways of cooking. The clamshell is an electric component, but it will go with either an electric or a gas griddle. The mounting frame is required, but the frame can be field installed or installed on the original factory PO. So the reasons that you'd want to invest in the clamshell option is simply because when you're cooking with heat from both above and below the product, the speed increase is absolutely phenomenal. You get great consistency that way. You get great consistency front to back across the entire length of the clamshell, and it just speeds up your operation and increases throughput. Also, by adding the clamshell, you are really increasing the output of that griddle. So a 24-inch griddle with clamshells, for example, cooks significantly faster than a larger griddle without the clamshell. This is an accessory that can be added to any of our heavy-duty griddles. It does require mounting hardware, but it does not have to be factory installed. It can be added while it is still in the field or after installation. So if you determine that after you have your griddle, if you want to be able to have much higher production out of that griddle, out of that same footprint, you can add this accessory later. It's the perfect solution for maximizing your output without changing the footprint of the appliance. Nice things about this clamshell are that it heats very evenly and quickly. It's got an aluminum core interior and 304 stainless exterior. What that basically means for you is the aluminum heats quickly and evenly, and the stainless steel exterior means it's going to be durable. And that's what you're looking for in a piece of equipment, and that's what this delivers. You can absolutely cook with confidence with this. It cooks significantly faster than a griddle without the clamshell. I wanted to talk a little bit about the ability to adjust the distance from the clamshell to the griddle. The standard method is this piece that has screws that adjust so that every time I lower the clamshell, it will stop at a predetermined thickness. That's great if I have like a multi-unit operation where I have a predictable thickness of every product. Say it's a burger or a chicken breast that you've sized specifically for your operation. Going with this option, which is the standard by the way, ships with the unit, is a great way to go. What you're seeing on this clamshell is an optional accessory that can change the gap depending on where I rotate this dial. So here it's very thick, and I can go all the way down to essentially no gap where there's the 0 there. And when I put it down now, it pretty much comes almost into contact with the griddle surface for very thin items. Another great feature of the Vulcan clamshell is that it is available instead of this smooth surface, it's available grooved. That would make great like grill marks on hamburgers or the grill marks that you would see on the top of like a panini press. So I can use this sort of as a panini with those grill lines. You just have to specify it that way and we'll make it that way for you. So obviously the nice feature of the Teflon sheet is that when I lower the clamshell onto the food, because it's a non-stick surface, when I lift it up, I'm not gonna peel the food up off of the griddle as I lift the clamshell. Another thing that this clamshell has is an adjustable temperature control. Here inside the clamshell, this heating element can be adjusted down as low as 150 degrees and as high as 450. At 450, you're obviously gonna get a lot of top browning when the clamshell is down. At 150, what you're gonna do is you're gonna still sandwich the food between two hot surfaces, but you're gonna get your coloration from the bottom rather than the top. You're still gonna get an increase in speed, but you won't get the coloration that you would at a higher temperature of the clamshell. So the controls on the clamshell are very, very simple. Just a power button, power switch here in the center this tells me that it's powered on, and this light will illuminate when it's calling for heat, when it's actually actively heating up. So the first thing I'm gonna cook for you right now is I'm gonna put some burgers on the entire surface of the VCCG. I'm gonna have some here that are not under the clamshell, and I'm gonna have some here under the clamshell. I'm gonna put a temperature probe in each one, and we're gonna be able to see the difference in speed between those two ways of cooking. I'm gonna cook these burgers up to USDA food safe 160 degrees. I'm gonna probe these as they cook. I'm gonna have some on this side without the clamshell, and we're gonna be able to, again, see the difference in speed and the amount of labor that had to be used to produce those burgers. So I'm gonna need to go ahead and flip these burgers on this side, on the open side. Got some color on those. Carefully flip that one with the probe in it. As you can see, the burgers on the left that are under the clamshell are actually up at about 145 degrees, probably about 150 right now. These are probably right around 100, 105 is my guess. So still very rare, whereas the ones under the clamshell are really approaching being finished. So my burgers under the clamshell are finished. I'm gonna go ahead and take these off. You can see they have great coloration on them. I'm gonna take these off. Take the probe out of this one. I'm gonna go back on 3 more under the clamshell. Set that probe again. Lower my clamshell and start another batch. As you can see from the inset, from the probe that's under the clamshell, those burgers are already past the temperature of the ones that were done on the open griddle. Again, just driving home the point that if you've got high output needs, the way to accomplish that is Vulcan VCCG griddle with the clamshell feature. Doesn't have to be the VCCG, it can be any of our heavy duty griddles, but the point is cook from the top and the bottom and speed up your operation. So you can see from the probe that's under here, this second batch of burgers is done. My first batch is still working. I lift this off. I can take off these burgers. Again, pull the probe out of here. I could at this point, obviously start a third batch, right? So now we're approaching 2.5 times the speed. Right? So if I started another batch, I'm gonna still cook those so much faster than these. These are just now starting to approach probably about 140, 145. I'm not even right there, still below that, my goodness. All right, so obviously, clamshell cooks a lot faster. So the burgers that were on the uncovered side or not underneath the clamshell have just now hit 160. I feel very confident I could have even gotten a third round of burgers under the clamshell before these were done. The cook time on this burger is about 14 minutes, and it was a big burger. It was not a quarter-pound burger. It was at least a 6-ounce, not a 7-ounce burger. So it was a good-sized burger. So I expect it to cook a little longer, take a little longer to cook. But the clamshell was finishing those burgers in about 4.5 minutes, 4 minutes and 20 seconds, whereas these took 14 minutes to get all the way cooked through. So again, just driving home that point, much higher throughput with the clamshell. So as I said, I'm gonna put chicken breasts on both sides. Even gonna give it give this side a little bit of a head start. And I'm gonna go ahead and lower the clamshell down onto the chicken. And we'll be able to watch and see how much faster that chicken cooks. I can go ahead and turn these now. So this side is just now getting turned. My knowledge of how this cooks, I know that I'm already over 120, 125 degrees now on this side, whereas this side, I am still not even at 100 degrees. Another thing that you're gonna notice though, is that with this side, I have to come up and physically contact the food again. That puts labor dollars back into this side of the griddle, whereas this side, it's cooking top and bottom and I won't have to touch it until it's finished. I always joke that a pair of tongs is the most expensive piece of equipment in the kitchen because the tong only works if it's attached to a person. So the more time that I have to spend here with my tongs working on a product, the higher the labor cost is on that product. So I'm gonna go back in and check the coloration on the bottom side of these. And I've got about equal coloration on top and bottom right now. But because I don't want one side to overcook while the other side is cooking, I'm gonna flip these again. So if you're scoring at home, that's the second time I've had to come up and use my tongs on this side where I haven't touched this side at all. And I don't know if you've been catching it on camera, but you've seen this light occasionally come on, light up as the heat is dispersed into the chicken. The unit recognizes that it needs more heat to back that up, so it will call for more energy here and heat up the clamshell further. So the chicken on the right, the open one, is just now approaching 100 degrees. We're probably hitting it right about now. This side should be just about finished, 165. I'm gonna let these go an extra couple of degrees just because I wanna make sure all my food is safe when I serve it. But 165 is all I technically need to reach. So I'm at 165. This just topped 100. I've touched this twice already. I'm gonna have to turn these at least one more time, if not two. But now I'm gonna go ahead and open my clamshell. You'll notice that I get no sticking because of the Teflon. You'll also notice that I've got coloration top and bottom on this chicken. So you can see how nice those look. By comparison, to get this kind of coloration over here, I'm gonna have to continue to work this chicken, which again, just keeps labor dollars standing here instead of doing other tasks in the kitchen. This side, only at about 125 degrees now, I could double the production by using the clamshell. I can get 2 full runs of chicken from this side under the clamshell as opposed to the open side. So again, I'm turning that chicken one more time, giving it another flip just to make sure that I don't get one side that's more brown than the other. I want even cooking. That's one of the benefits of the clamshell, is that I get even cooking top and bottom.
You may be asked to compare Vulcan's manual clamshell to an automatic clamshell. Compared to an automatic clamshell, the Vulcan manual clamshell requires slightly more effort to achieve the same result. Unlike automatic basket lifts on a fryer, an automatic clamshell does not remove the product from the heat source when cooking is complete, and requires someone to be there to ensure their product is removed when cooking is complete. There is no need for the complexity and maintenance of hydraulics and touchscreen controls, which can ultimately lead to expensive repairs. In this application, keeping it simple works well, and if a timer is needed, then a strip or magnetic timer could easily be applied where it functions independently of the cooking equipment and can be easily replaced if it were ever damaged.
So you can see that the chicken on the right that did not get the clamshell is just now at 165 degrees. Just know that if you need maximum throughput from your griddle, the way to get that is with the clamshell. All right, one last thing I want to do on the clamshell, because I think most people think of it as a very meat-centric item, right? For doing chicken or steaks or burgers. But another option would be a cauliflower steak. Slightly par-cooked the cauliflower, slice it into very thick slabs, and I'm gonna put that on here with some seasoning, close the clamshell. Once it comes up to temperature, it will also have finished cooking this cauliflower, and it'll be great as an appetizer, or you could do it as a side dish. But it's just a way to incorporate vegetables into your use of the clamshell. This is the kind of thing that I could make with, with different cuisines, right? I could do something Indian using turmeric or cumin. I could go Mediterranean with garlic and herbs. There's all sorts of different ways that I could produce this. That cauliflower steak, it had a moment a couple years ago. I think that moment went away a little too fast, I think, because I think it's a great thing that you can do, like I said, as an appetizer. Put it out as a small shared plate, something like that, with the right sauce on it. It's just fantastic. So as I mentioned before, the clamshell is adjustable from its temperature profile. Adjusting that is very simple. It's not the kind of thing that you're gonna wanna do all the time. You're gonna wanna set it up so that when you use it, it's consistent every single time. But setting it up isn't difficult. You just simply remove these 4 screws over this cover, lift that cover off, adjust the temperature, and then reset this cap and set the screws again. It's very, very simple. So I've got color on this cauliflower now. I'm gonna lift this up. You're gonna see, got browning across the top, browning underneath. I'm gonna top this with some herb butter. I'm gonna serve it with a little dip, like some black garlic mayonnaise, black garlic aioli, something like that. But great little appetizer. So one of the benefits of the clamshell is that it's also very easy to clean. This Teflon sheet that covers it means that it's a non-stick surface. So I can, with a high temperature squeegee, I can just run this high temperature squeegee down this surface and clean that Teflon sheet. And at that point, with just a wipe of a dry towel, that's ready to go. Today, I showed you the speed and ease of use of the clamshell by showing you chicken, and I showed you a side-by-side comparison of how fast the chicken cooks with and without the clamshell. I made some cauliflower steaks, and I did some burgers. Because of the design of the clamshell, the way it comes down and cooks food from both the top and then the bottom on the griddle means that all of this food that we cook today cooks significantly faster and with great consistency. If you have an operation that is, say, needing a little bit more speed or a little bit more consistency off of their griddle, the clamshell would be a great addition to that operation.
Thank you, Chef Pete, for demonstrating to everyone the power of the Vulcan manual clamshell. I am Chris Cook, the Business Development Manager for fryers, griddles, and charbroilers. It is easy to see the benefits of the clamshell through the speed of cooking and the uniformity of color on the food. Time and space are considerations every restaurant operator manages daily. Whether you are a fast food, fast casual, stadium, or independent restaurant, the Vulcan manual clamshell works well in high volume operations as well as kitchens with limited space availability. The clamshell is an easy addition to your existing Vulcan griddles, but please note the Vulcan clamshell can only be used on a Vulcan heavy-duty 24-inch deep griddle. Chef Pete demonstrated that the VMCS can double or nearly triple the output capacity of a conventional griddle. He also demonstrated that food produced from the VMCS requires less labor in production than cooking on an open griddle plate because you have fewer labor touch points. Quality, time, labor, space, and productivity are all areas that will benefit from having the VMCS as part of your kitchen lineup. Check out the VMCS on the Vulcan website, as well as our griddle lineup, including our rapid recovery composite plate. We have the unit to fit your space.